You know, I am fascinated by the out of body experience probably from the very beginning. I have heard about it a long time ago, probably with the help of Robert Monroe's books, a series of books. If I remember correctly, there are 4 books by Robert. But anyway, I am fascinated by the very idea of out-of-body experience from the very beginning. And now, the classic method of achieving this state, this experience, so-called out of the body, in which you, let's say, leave, so to speak, your body and begin the journey. Maybe starting with floating just above your physical body, but this is only the beginning. And before you, there are plenty of very different, very diversified and potentially interesting, fascinating, exciting experiences in which you may travel with your spirit body, not only on the physical plan, but especially on the spiritual one. But there is one thing about this classic method which may make the whole thing difficult to achieve. This is not an universal method of approaching out of body, the classic one, which consists of leaving your body temporarily, of course. It is completely safe and so on. Leaving your body and traveling using your spirit body instead of the physical one. This is not universal, and it requires some preparations. It seems that this method is not good for everybody, and some people find this method easy, or they work it out for a how to say it, not so long time, requiring those people to master this method. Oh, I put it that way. But there are also other people who find the same method pretty difficult, and regardless of many tries, it usually doesn't work for them. Sometimes it may work, but usually it doesn't. And now, if you, like me and many other beings, are interested in the OoBE subject, you may find a relief in that there is another method which may be much more easier to handle, and especially in case you find the classic one difficult. This method I'm talking about is the method described by Bruce Moen, which is, by the way, who is, by the way, also the author of a series of books, also a couple of them, like Robert Monroe. And this method, described by Bruce Moen, fascinated me also from the very beginning, but for different reasons. The main exciting thing about this method is that it seems surprisingly easy. You couldn't think about it this way, because the main surprise about it is that it uses as the main drive, so to speak, your own imagination. The imagination, or to put it differently, this method is powered, so to speak, by your imagination. You use your own imagination as another sense, and this is the most exciting and surprising thing about it. The most incredible insight out of it is that you can perceive imagination in a completely new, at least for me, way, which is perceiving your imagination as another sense, like a sense of sight, sense of smell. Here you have another sense of imagination, and this sense of imagination is also a tool, a mean of perception. In other words, this method describes imagination as a tool not only to make things out, like, for example, in fantasy, but also to perceive things. This is the most incredible and exciting thing about it for me, that imagination as such can play a role of a mean of perceiving things, perceiving everything around you. So back to the alternative method of achieving the out-of-body experience, there is another method which uses imagination as the main drive, so to speak, a main power behind all of that. And to put it shortly, I mean, to make a long story short, although this is not so complex matter, but to put it in a short form, I will tell you that the method consists of visualization. You just visualize something and use that visualization as a beginning, as a start point, as a stepping point for your whole further experience on the spiritual plan. You use imagination as a kind of a trigger, which may lead you to the same thing which you could achieve with the classic OoBE method. Surprising? Just imagination. And another great thing about it is that it doesn't require much from you to use this method, because one, can you visualize? Or who can't do that? Visualize. Who can't visualize? I will tell you that if you are able to read books or listen to audiobooks, you are able to visualize in the same time, because in order to read a book, you need to be able to visualize its content. in order to comprehend it, to understand it. You need it. This is a definitely required thing to handle books, to be able to visualize. And so I suppose everybody can do that. And if you can visualize, you can also use this alternative method of out-of-body experience, because it consists mainly of using your own, the same imagination, visualization skills, so to speak. It's amazing that it is possible, and as I have said before, this method, it seems like it helps many people to achieve the out-of-body experience, those people who find the classic method difficult. So for me, it was a great news that there is such a method out there with the help of which I can finally begin my own journey on the spiritual plan. And again, to describe it, to simplify the whole thing, it consists of visualization. I or you can visualize some, for example, scene as a stepping point, as I have said before, and this scene may convert itself or be reshaped by its own way. I mean, without your intention, even without your intention, it may be reshaped. It may lead you to a new experience, something which may pop up by itself, so to speak. Here and there, you can experience things which are popping up by themselves. So, on one hand, you are developing, while using these methods during a session, you are developing your visualization, some scenes, some like a movie script, let's put it that way. And down the road, you can stumble upon some things about which you can't be so sure that they are of your own imagination. In other words, it seems that some parts of your visualization showed by themselves. It's not so obvious regarding those things that you have created them. And I think I will describe this method further in more details in further episodes. But for now, I'd like to tell you that this is possible to use easier method, a method which could be easier for you to use in order to achieve the out-of-body experience. And you may find out that this is possible to explore the spiritual plan without all the classic stuff, without, for example, a need to achieve some deep relax, using so-called hemisync technology, which is great, of course, which is or may be great, but as I have said before, it's not universal. The method I'm describing right now also is not universal, but it may be that this one will be much more useful for you than the classic one. So this is all I would like to tell you by now. As I have said, it was a great news for me, and from that moment forward, I am a happy explorer, happy and still amazed by how easy and convenient this method can be. So thank you for your time and attention, and have a good day.